rolling with no doors, Jeep life. It's a BrightDrop thing you wouldn't understand.
This video is brought to you by New, a technology company building energy solutions that enable a faster transition to an electric future.
Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. You join me for another video here at ACT. We're at the ACT Expo in Anaheim, California, looking at a whole bunch of fleet and commercial electric options. And BrightDrop has been so cool, they're gonna let me drive their van. So this, I'm gonna take you on a full tour of the van, interior and exterior, of course. I'm then gonna drive it for the first time and talk about where I think this fits in. There's no question that we need a huge amount of new types of electric vehicles, from semi trucks down there and delivery vehicles if you pan away. We need new charging solutions to mobile charging applications and on and on. The sort of last mile delivery, that Amazon idea, the FedEx idea, where you bring packages to your house, this no question fits in perfectly. But I've even heard of other use cases where this BrightDrop van could come super in handy. So what I want to do is at least take you on a tour of it, take you through some of the specs that I know about, and let's treat this because I haven't totally researched everything. It's just going to be my raw first impressions. Let's treat this as a very initial experience of BrightDrop. If you guys are interested in more, perhaps we can get one to borrow and do range tests and charging tests and go meet with maybe some dealers or fleet operators that are using these or will plan to use these and see how they fit into their life. So let's not consider this a full review, just a first drive of the BrightDrop Zevo 600. This is the BrightDrop Zevo 600. And if you think about it this way, BrightDrop is a division of General Motors. So just like Cadillac, GMC, Chevrolet, this is BrightDrop. It's another brand, and they're focused on the commercialization of electric vehicles. And well, first of all, taking a look at it, you can obviously tell that this is pitched to go right after where the Rivian EDV sits in. And there's a few different sizes of the Rivian EDV, and that's their Amazon van. They're using it internally. And to be honest, most of Rivian's production is going to Amazon, maybe going to some internal projects. So this and other electric vans are really needed to get into that commercial space, into the delivery space. So I'm really happy. Honestly, every single something like this will sell out. There's just an unlimited demand for electric commercial vehicles right now. I thought originally when I first saw this that it had halogen headlights. It just has reflector LED headlights up here. So I just wanted to point that out because in a previous video I said it had halogen headlights. It actually does not. And you know what? It's certainly not as pleasant looking when we compare it to the Rivian EDV. The Rivian EDV is like a happy thing going down the road. And I really think starting off on a negative, I think GM kind of messed up a little bit of the styling here. It doesn't look pleasant. It's not happy. It's not inviting. It's just a box with a strip of lights. But it is really cool because it's a dual motor, fully electric van. And this, I believe, is at least the Rivian's only front wheel drive at the moment. They're going to do their dual motor option later. The all wheel drive might actually be quad motor. I'm not totally sure. But this uses essentially the Ultium platform, similar to the Hummer EV chassis, Silverado EV. And this one doesn't use the big double stack battery. So it's roughly 100 kilowatt hours, charges at roughly 120 kilowatt peak DC is what I hear. Fleets don't need the big high peak. It's all focused on longevity and maybe smoothing out that charging curve a little bit. So that's why I want to do some charge testing and range testing and things like that, because different use cases than a commercial, or I should say production electric vehicle. So this is the Zevo 600. And there's so much activity going on here because we're literally at the end of this event. The Zevo 600 is the big one. This is the big bad boy. They'll have a longer range option. I believe this is around 200 miles of range, something like that. And they'll also have a 400, which will be a smaller one. And they'll make some updates and adaptations as time goes. But let's walk around this thing. Dual motor, all-wheel drive, 390 horsepower, I think. AC charging, at least at 11 kilowatt AC charging. It might even be 80 amp onboard charging now with newer production. And again, I think stated 120 kilowatt peak DC rate. Everything with this is about cost. I don't know the price of it. I can't imagine it's super cheap, but there's tons of incentives to go electric, tons of incentives to, of course, electrify fleets in all sizes. But this is what's going on in the rear. Epic. So just to show you what I went through, I hit this little button on the side. This basically unlocks the rear door. I then twisted the handle and it went up. So let's take a look inside. Now, I have never been in the Rivian EDV. We have videos with it. Max went in, but take a look at this. I'm 6'1" and I can stand perfectly even past the barriers with no issue at all. My head is not hitting even at the lowest point. The wheel wells take up a little space, and this is really the raw shell that would be shipped from the factory. Upfitters can do whatever you need to do with it. I'm sure you could put in sliding doors. I mean, it's just a box on wheels. You could put in shelving for parcel delivery, and there's even a door right here that I think I can just open and close right there. Check that out. That is cool. Now, there is like a little latch. Yeah, so you got to pull this one back, and then this slides in there. So really cool to see. They actually have the 400 version here inside. So let's take a look. You have auto doors on this one. Sick. That is awesome. So you can open and close there. And does that rear door auto as well, or that one's... Oh, super cool. And I guess through software, you guys can really tune that to open and close, maybe based off of key proximity or a whole bunch of other things. But very cool to see the possibilities once you start motorizing some of these doors. And just to show you a little bit of the kit out of this particular one, we're inside the show here. You can see shelving front to rear, which is great to see. They also have this little cart that's electrified and motorized, and you can put packages in there, and that's designed to actually go in this. They're working out solutions on how to get it in the van, but this is actually a separate thing you can buy from BrightDrop, separate from the van. So they have passive thermal management there if you're going to do food delivery. You can lock and unlock. It's all motorized, powered. I think they're working on an autonomous version as well. Pretty sick. But yeah, here you go. Just like a basic build out. It's really all you need for a van is having, you know, just shelving in here. Very similar to like the Rivian Amazon situation with the shelves. But just having this much space, fully electric, big battery, dual motor, like this seems like a real workhorse of a vehicle. And I honestly can't wait to drive it. I'm going to drive it here in a second. So we got a bunch of cup holders around up here. If you take a look at the cab space, there's basically feels very Hummer EV in here. We have some software stuff that we're going to go through. Let's just go into the energy menu here and see what we have. So we have charging. It says 280 miles of range at 100%. We're currently down low. We're at 76 miles of range, but look at that, well under 25% state of charge on this thing. So the range might be actually pretty good. Target 50%. You can set your charge limit however you want. I think I'll probably set it to, so they say to preserve your battery, charge to 80%. Just like the Hummer EV as well, they say in steep mountain terrain, charge to 80% or less so that you have regen to help the brakes so they don't overheat. That's nothing new that we haven't seen before from GM in heavy vehicles. Energy usage, it'll tell you everything so you can really go through here and see what is consuming most of the energy. So we love to see all this. DC fast charging, battery preconditioning, not ready, but you can hit start preconditioning. It says 30 minutes before a DC fast charging session, so that's pretty great. And it will also enhance acceleration in cold weather. Yep, for those drag races, we love to see it. So everything in here is very similar to other GM electric products that we've driven. The Hummer EV comes to mind. This feels like the same size screen and everything like that. Big hazard button there, which is important for when you're delivering. You got to have your hazards on often. The shifter straight out of Hummer and some other stuff. Everything here seems really cool, really well baked. And I like how they basically just take everything from their passenger cars, throw it in a van, and it works well. This is literally the exact same screen out of a Hummer. So love to see that. What else are they going to talk about? The charging peak of 120 kilowatts doesn't seem to be a big deal because I think these are going to run mostly throughout the day. The range seems impressively long. We got to do a range test on one of these one day. And you can just, you know, go through and run forever, charge it up overnight. Even on AC charging, you're good to go. Plenty of headroom throughout. I don't have to duck at all getting inside and out. Let me show you how you actually get in and out of this vehicle. So we'll go out on this side and in on the other. I also just want to point here, there's a jump seat. That seems pretty cool and convenient to sit down into. No massaging seats in this one. But it is, you know, it seems, I've never been able to review the inside of a cabin standing up before. So consider me just blown away and so excited to experience this type of vehicle. So let's open the door. You just got to be kind of quick and hard on everything. You got to latch it in. Everything's very industrial feeling. Take a look. If you zoom in here on some of this hardware that's in the vehicle, just hardcore heavy duty, meant to just be slammed hundreds of times a day, open and close. What's kind of cool is as I get out, let's say we wanted to leave the vehicle, I have a little button here that I can hit to remote lock it. By the way, speaking of the key, I can show you as well. It's just straight from some other stuff. They have their own BrightDrop logo on there. You can remote start it, you can lock it, or when you go to deliver a package, sorry for some of the noise here, when you go to deliver a package, you can just hit that button, walk away, thing's locked, everything is secure. So let me just double check, slam the door. Let's run around to the other side, and I'll show you how this door works. It's largely similar. I believe there might be an option in the future for auto doors with a little actuation button under here is what I'm kind of hearing. But basically you pull on this to open the door, push it to close it, and of course you can lock it and walk away. So without further ado, we have a couple hundred miles of range, maybe even more depending on your driving style. It really comes down to how you're driving. You have a 10,000 pound GVWR, so literally anyone can drive it with no special license. So it's 9,990 pound maximum weight rating. I don't know what the max payload is on this. I'm going to ask as we drive because that's a big consideration, of course. But man, the response to this van has just been epic. We've talked to so many fleet operators that have been here at ACT, and they are so interested in this type of solution. And I honestly, I've been asking people, like, what don't you like about it? I haven't really heard any complaints. So everyone says it's really fun to drive. So very much looking forward to that. I think the only thing I'd like to see improved, which would be a really nice option, is rear steer. The Hummer EV, we all know, has that big rear steering package on it. You can crab walk. Maybe this doesn't need to crab walk, but it'd be hilarious if it did. But just having rear steer to maneuver this in a tight area, I would think would be a worthwhile benefit. It's expensive, but make it an option. It's my only suggestion so far. Let's jump in and go for a drive. I want to thank New for sponsoring today's video. Guys, you remember a few weeks ago when we were over at Atlas doing that crazy megawatt and above charging when we showed the fastest charging ever on YouTube? Well, they've just rebranded and their new company name is New. It's a fantastic name because they are focused on an energy intensive future. They believe that energy, as well as I do, is at the core of everything, and especially their business model going forwards. So between their charging business and their Cube technology, their battery packs that can power anything from stationary energy storage to, residential or daily driven devices, all the way to heavy duty use commercial applications, they are all in on a new future. So thanks to them for sponsoring this video. Keep an eye on future videos with them coming very soon, where we go more into New. And now it's time to jump inside and start this thing up. Actually, it looks like it's already on, so in we go. We got, yeah, thank you. Headrest set. We'll put the key just over here for now. Orange seatbelts make everything faster, of course. Right. So, thank you. Close the door. Big industrial door, feels like you can really slam it there. And let's start looking at what we have here. So we have some climate control, which is great. I have a temperature adjustment right here. And so that's great. We'll go 68 on, is there an auto setting? There is. So we have a vent left and right. Love to see that. We'll actually go lower on the fan. Don't need too much. So climate control, there's 3 vents over here on this side, but it seems like there's quite a bit of airflow. And if you pan down over this way as well, you'll see 2 more vents right there. USB-A, USB-C. So you can have your choice. And I guess the seat can go up and down. We're gonna go all the way down for ultimate racing position. We're at seemingly lower state of charge. Yeah, I set it to 80% there maximum. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what percent we're at, but maybe 15 or 18%, something like that. If we look here on the wheel, let's take a look at what we have. We have cruise control. We have our actually adaptive cruise control, which is pretty epic, so that's cool. I can adjust some of my screens here, changing menus and options, which is fantastic. So we have energy usage, driver assistance, tire pressure, things averaging about 1 to 1.5 miles per kilowatt hour, it looks like, but not representative driving. We'll put it in drive. Little chirp from the horn. Do you know why that would be?
Not so sure.
Okay, no worries. And let's see if this thing drives. Yeah, it does. So there's also a 1-pedal driving function, I believe. If we go into, let's see, if I put it back into park, we should be able to activate the home menu. We're going to go over to settings. We'll go into vehicle. We will then go into one pedal driving on. So everything is very similar to the other GM vehicles, where if you go one pedal driving on in drive, I can come off the brake, it won't move. L increases regen, and no regen paddle on this one, no extra regen paddle, which is okay, but it would be kind of cool. So wow, pretty interesting just to get a feel for it inching around. Really good motor control there at low speed. I believe GM uses permanent magnet motors for all of their vehicles, so not feeling really any motor cogging, which is impressive. The throttle's tuned pretty sensitive in this mode, so just touching it gets it to creep along here. Steering is unbelievably light. If we just do a quick turning radius check, we got some information coming from the right side, so let's pan over and see what's happening. That should put us in park. That'll unlock us.
Yeah, sorry. So
no
when
worries.
You leave out this way,
Yep.
you're not coming back that way. You're coming back through that west gate.
Okay, over here, yep. And then we'll drive around this way. But we should exit over here, is okay. Everyone at BrightDrop's just been unbelievably nice and accommodating. So it seems every time we go into drive, it does a little ding, which I'm not sure why, but maybe it's just to clear the area around. We have brightness adjustments here. If we go full turn on this thing, if you pan out the front, you'll see the turning radius really isn't bad, but it's not as tight as you would think it would be to maneuver it around a big city. But I guess this is a large vehicle, no question. And I'm sure we'll hear some noise coming from the back here because this is just an open, empty shell behind us, basically. But the feeling of this is epic. Looking out the front windshield, so cool. Really just impressed with how great that throttle pedal calibration is. If I just lift off all the way and max regen right there, we'll even put it in L to increase. Comes to a stop perfectly, smoothly, no issue at all. And so it says to exit, drive forward to line. So let's try this out and hope we don't get any tire spikes. Looks like they've put them in the ground, so we should be good. And will it open up? The answer is yes. I hear something beeping. And there it opens. Great. So we're good. Really cool stuff here. I mean, so many options, so many things. Let's take it out on the road in the BrightDrop. Turn signal feels very similar to everything else. And looks like they're blocking traffic for us, which is super cool. So we'll come out and go wide a little bit. Oh, wow. This is a cool experience. Really surprised at that power modulation and just how much performance there actually is just leaning into it. You do really get a sense of like driving in a powerful electric vehicle, no question. I think we're doing about 20 miles an hour. We should just roll into it, feel some of the power. So let's give it full beans, shall we? We won't blow the doors off anyone, but here we go, full send. Dang, this thing actually does pick up and go pretty well. We're gonna make some turns around here. I hope we can actually, just because the road looks like it's filled with traffic and I can see some things over there. So it says no U-turns, no U-turns. May have gotten ourselves in a situation, but this should be pretty representative of what will happen when you're delivering packages and things around a city. You're gonna have to maneuver this through tight, confusing parking lots and places. So let's see what happens as we come in here. It says, please pull forward, no U-turns. Oh boy, I think I got us down the wrong parking lot. No theme park parking. Okay, well, we'll figure it out. So this is not a good situation that we're in. Let's see what happens. I don't think this window rolls down, but I can just open the door. It would,
Sides.
yeah.
It should be a little better for them to roll down.
Oh, really? I do not see that anywhere. Over here, you're thinking?
Right here, since we're not moving the vehicle.
Yeah, you can show us.
You're right here.
Oh, check that out. The window does roll down. No way. So grabbing the ticket. Well, it's good. We're going through tight places. It's like going to a depot, basically. And we're in. It's really a cool experience driving this. I can see absolutely everything. I have blind spot monitoring, which is just amazing. We're totally stuck in the middle of this parking lot. Let's make a U-turn here. We'll test some of its low speed handling, turning radius stuff. This is where having rear steer could really help. So into reverse, nice backup camera, side collision, rear collision traffic alert, basically helping us out there. back into drive, one pedal driving, and onwards. Horn test. Oh, nice horn. Good horn. That is a get out of our way horn. We got a green light here all the way on the left, so let's do that. Best test drive ever. Low speed maneuvering. This is like what BrightDrop driver would really do. I really think there needs to be a tighter turning radius on this thing, or rear steer. That's what we're waiting for. Hey there.
Hi.
We made a wrong turn, as I'm sure you can imagine.
You're all set.
Thank you so much. And window up. So I think really the only thing left to do, because this is just going to be a pretty quick taste, is maybe we'll get it up to a little bit higher speed here, and we'll go out on the road the other direction where there's less traffic. We got to do a launch, see how this thing gets off the line, because ultimately getting your packages to your destination on time is key, and this thing's got to be fast. So we got to test that out, and this actually looks like the perfect opportunity to do so. No one is around. I'm going to come to a stop here. We're going to brake boost it, and we're going to launch it. So left foot hard on the brake, flooring it with the right, and here we go. Feeds in the power nicely, ramping up to full power, ripping. And then using that huge amount of regen, 100 kilowatt regen just there, even at low speed, to pull us down. I love that it tells us the kilowatt power output and the regen. The visibility is amazing. These side mirrors are placed, this one's actually a little bit closer to me than that one. That one seems to be placed a little bit more forwards. They're heated. We also have some sun visor action going on here, which is cool. So I guess this folds down and I can block the sun out, which is very cool. We have OnStar. We have a picture of a dude with some beams coming out of his head. I don't know what that's about, but definitely one of those OnStar maybe talking features. The one thing we haven't touched on with BrightDrop yet is the software package. Hardware is one side of the equation, and this is going to be an increasing topic from me through our coverage, is talking about the software integration of vehicles, especially when it comes to fleet and charging. So this has their own, BrightDrop has their own back-end software management, and it's one package to manage the entire fleet operation, charging, driving, telematics, all of that comes with this. And to me, that needs to be something we play around with. So in the future, we should really start comparing some of these technologies. I mean, we're cruising around at Service Street, 35 miles an hour. The drivetrain is dead silent. The refinement of the braking and accelerating, the suspension's comfortable, even unloaded. And again, it's only 10,000 pound GVWR, so it's not like a super heavy duty package, but this thing rides nice, cruises unbelievably well. I've driven other delivery vans, U-Haul rental trucks, you name it, all of them from Ford and GM and others. And this is a superior driving experience to any delivery vehicle that I've ever been in, for sure. It's just roomy, quiet, one pedal driving reduces so much fatigue. We actually have adaptive cruise control if we wanted to enable that as well. So that's really great to see. We have collision mitigation. All around, they really, I think, have kind of nailed at least the driving experience of this. The cost aspect, I don't know what that looks like. We'd have to talk to some dealers to see pricing and spec out some fleet costs and do that comparison. But in terms of like, if you're going to be a driver and drive a BrightDrop, well, this is fun and it's fast and it's like really enjoyable. So let's make a left. We'll make a U-turn, head back. We'll actually go into this little city street and kind of simulate what a typical package delivery might look like for a FedEx or a UPS or one of those situations. So what I'll do is I don't know, we'll pull up over here somewhere, get out, see how that process looks, and then we'll make a U-turn. So coming in through this neighborhood, nice and gently. I think even if we close this door behind me, the noises would be reduced as well. So we're gonna go hazards on. I love that big hazard button. One pedal drive to 0, seatbelt off, in park, and I can just boom, I think, open the door, but it won't. You would think I could open the door. Do you know why the door won't open, perhaps?
Lock the doors.
I may have locked the doors. Yes. How do we unlock the doors?
Key.
Yep, keys over there. We're locked in the BrightDrop. Yeah, not sure, to be honest. We're definitely in park, vehicle off. Parking brake on. We're locked in. Park, so there's lock, here's unlock. And we're definitely not getting out. And it definitely is unlocking, I believe. Oh, there we go. We got one door open.
Pull this forward.
Pull that forward, okay. Yep, all the way forward. Definitely not
Hold it when you.
hold it like that. Oh, I see. So they have this, I guess that's the emergency release right there.
Release in case this happens.
So this is a long package delivery, but just to simulate, I can very quickly jump out, which is great. We could go do whatever we need to do. And then I guess it would be up to the driver to determine whether or not they want to get in and out of this side. But this is a really easy step in. The step height seems to be very reasonable, nothing crazy. I don't have to duck in to get into the back. We got grab handles around. The only problem is it locks you inside. We were doing something wrong, I'm sure. All right, so let's go back to driving this thing. We'll bring it back, deliver it. What an epic experience to drive this thing. In we go. So vehicle on, key over here. I just want to see briefly how cool this must be to just inch it around with the door open. Parking lot, parking lights off.
Make sure you put the door all the way back, like push it.
Yeah, lock it in like that. Oh, so there is a locking function. That is great. Rolling with no doors, Jeep life. It's a BrightDrop thing you wouldn't understand. So let's close this back up. Boom. This dude's got an AMG and a Prius in his driveway. He's very confused as to what side of the car buying decision he wants to be on. Got to offset the fuel economy. Here we go through an intersection, or I should say a U-turn. I think my only, I would say, shock takeaway is I'm really surprised at how poor it is in tight situations from a turning radius perspective. Really think they need to include the Hummer EV rear steer or get more angle on the front. Perhaps if they offer a single motor version of this and they can remove the front, electric motor from the front axle, they could actually get some more angle on the front, not having to have half shafts come through and all that stuff. But that's really the only thing I'm finding right now. Everything ergonomically is placed nicely. There's Apple CarPlay. You can integrate all of your fleet software right here. The driving position is wonderful. Even just pulling out in traffic, give it a full send. We're spinning tires pulling out on the road. This thing boogies strong power. Again, almost 400 horsepower in this one. And we're at very low state of charge. Huge amounts of regen. And I can put it in L and get slightly more as well. We'll just pop here to the right lane. Big blind spot monitoring, great mirrors, great viewpoint out the front. And overall, just really impressive package, I would say. This is such a cool experience. So let's bring it back. I'll give you my final thoughts. And just a great time driving the BrightDrop Zevo 600 here in California. Absolutely epic. We'll give it one final launch here at the stoplight, and then we'll end the video. So we got a turning lane going. Once the CRV clears our path, green light should be coming soonish. There we go. Full power. Man, they really should tune this thing to give you full power at 0. It isn't until 30 miles an hour that you get the maximum power. So it has this very smooth ramp up. But imagine this thing spec'd and tuned as a race BrightDrop. That would be very cool. So this is not the entrance we should go in. It is the next one right here. So let's go park this thing and we'll end the video. I have to say a huge thank you to BrightDrop for letting me drive your van. This was just absolutely cool. I can't wait to start reviewing and testing more commercial applications for electric, because as I've been saying, one person buying one electric car doesn't make much of a difference. If a fleet exchanges 500 or 5,000 delivery vehicles with something like this, then we're really utilizing the power of electric at scale. So Really cool experience, so much fun, and let me know if you want to see some testing on this stuff. Perhaps BrightDrop will let us borrow one for a little bit and do some range and charging testing and delivery simulation, and maybe we'll even put it against the Rivian EDV out in the wild. Should be kind of fun to do a comparison. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you in another one soon. Bye-bye.